My name is Dr. Burkholder. I'm the Director of Online Studies for the Psychology Programs at the University of Liverpool. I want to talk to you today about scholarly writing. The psychology programs at the University of Liverpool use the American Psychological Association Style Manual as the guide for scholarly writing. Sometimes you'll hear this referred to as the APA Manual. I want to talk about three things that I think will help make your experience of writing easier for your coursework. The first is around citation, the second quotation, and the third referencing. So to start with citation, you want to make sure that you give credit to those ideas that you use that are not your own. And the way we do this is we cite those people in our writing. In this first example of a single author publication, you would just paraphrase the idea that you're using and then follow it by the author and the year. So in this particular example, you would paraphrase the idea and then you would follow it with parentheses Smith, 2001. In this next example, if you're using a multiple author publication, you would just list all of the authors in the order that they appear on the publication and follow it by the year. So in this particular example, Jones, Friedman, and Johnson, 2001. And just make sure that you always use the ampersand sign in parentheses instead of writing out the word and. In this next example, there are multiple sources, so the idea that you paraphrase may be attributed to multiple different publications. In that particular case, what you would do is you would list the publications in alphabetical order by name of the first author. So in this particular example, there was an article written by Aronson and Zabrowski in 2003, Credo in 2012, and Davis in 2011. In this particular example, you would list them in this order. This next example shows what you would do if you cite a source that has 6 or more authors in it. To do that, you would just write the name of the first author and follow it by the words et al., period, and then the year as you did before. So these are all examples of how you would cite sources that are attributable to ideas that are different from those of your own ideas. And again, as a reminder, when you cite, this is how you separate the ideas that you have from the ideas of others. This next example is about quotation, and it's very important that when you quote an article or publication verbatim, that you make sure that you identify it that way. And the way we do this is we use double quotation marks. So in this particular example, I have taken from a publication, "The world was flat until proven otherwise." I've surrounded this in quotation marks, and then behind it I've made sure that I have cited in the ways that we have just described, and then follow that citation by a page number. So in this particular example, Allen's, 2006, P period 37. Next, I want to talk about referencing. Sometimes you're familiar with the word bibliography. In APA manual style, we use a reference list at the end, and the reference list contains only those sources that we actually cite in our writing. Many of you may recall when you write a bibliography that you were trained to list all of the sources that you use, whether you actually include them in your writing or not. In APA style, we just list the references that we cite. So there's a number of different examples. In this first slide, the example is how you would reference a journal article. And you can see from the example that we have Sharma and Ix were the publishers or the writers of this article, followed by the year number with a period, and then you follow that with the title of the article. And notice the capitalization, it's only its title or sentence case, which means that you capitalize the first letter of the sentence or the title of the article. Following that, you list the name of the journal in italics, followed by the volume number, which is also in italics, and then following that, the page. If there is a DOI number associated with it, then you will list that. And many electronic articles now have DOI numbers as a way to identify, uniquely identify that particular article. So in this particular example, Sharma and Ix, 2008, Psychosocial Determinants of Childhood and Adolescent Obesity, followed by the Journal of Social Behavioral and Health Sciences, Volume 2, pages 33 through 49, and then with the DOI number at the end. This next example shows you how to reference a book. So in this particular case, it would just be the authors of the book, and then the title of the book is again in sentence case, but in this case it's italicized. Following that, you have the location of the publisher, and then after that, the name of the publisher. So in this particular example, Collison G, Elbaum G, Havand S, and Tinker R, followed by 2000, and then Facilitating Online Learning, Effective Strategies for Moderators, all in italics. The article or the book was published in Madison, Wisconsin, and was published by Atwood Press. This next example shows how to reference a chapter in a book. It's very similar to how you would reference a book, except in this particular case, you're going to make sure that you have the authors of the article at the very beginning, and then after that you will have the name of the actual article or the chapter in the book, and then following that you have the name of the editor, and then the title of the overall book in which that chapter appears, and then followed again by the location of the publisher and then the actual publisher name. So in this particular example, you see the authors, and then they wrote a chapter in this book called Healthcare Strategies for Frail Older Adults, and then it was published in a book that was edited by P. Burbank, and then the name of that book was Vulnerable Older Adults, Healthcare Needs and Interventions. The last thing I want to talk to you about is how to cite and reference your own work. You can cite paraphrased ideas from previous work. For example, in a previous assignment, you may have talked about forensic psychologists and the work that they do in criminal settings. Perhaps you wrote this as a hand-in or a posting. So what you would do is you would cite yourself as you normally would cite any other author if you're attributing the ideas that were previously written. And then to your reference list, you would add it in this way. And you can see in this particular slide example, I have Smith J.S. 2011, and then Forensic Psychology in Criminal Settings, which was the name of the assignment that was previously written. And notice it's in italics. And then you would follow that with Unpublished Manuscript, and then University of Liverpool, which was where that was done. So this is the way that you can use ideas that were previously used in other assignments, but bring them in to support the work that's in the current assignment. I hope that you found this guide to scholarly writing useful and helpful to you as you move forward in writing your own assignments for the forensic and applied psychology programs. Thank you.